2.7 Decimal operations and equations with decimals. In this lesson, we will learn how to solve equations involving decimals. Decimal means that you have a number that's after this point. Guided practice, Part A. The sum of a positive decimal and a negative decimal has the same sign as the decimal with a greater absolute value. So this takes us back to an earlier lesson involving adding positive integers and negative integers. You would take the sign with a greater absolute value. So 2.9 plus negative 6.5 gives us negative 3.6. What I did was I took 6.5 and I subtracted that from 2.9. And because the absolute value of negative 6.5 is greater than the absolute value of 2.9, I used a negative sign. For the next one, I will need to first change this to positive. Negative 25.38 plus 42.734. Remember, if you have a negative multiplied by another negative number, this will make positive. There's actually a 1 here by the identity property. Now we can move forward with adding these two decimal numbers. So after taking 42.734 and subtracting that from 25.38, I get 17.354. Part B, find a product or quotient. Remember, product means multiplication. Quotient means division. So we can take 0.7, negative 0.7, and multiply that by 18.4. We're still with the sign, negative, positive, negative. And we could do the math here. And since there's two decimal places, we need to shift the decimal 2 places to the left. So that gives you 12.88. For the next one, we can rewrite it as negative 29.07 over negative 1.9. Negative negative makes positive, and I could also shift the decimal 1 place to the right. Yet 29.0.7 over 19. And then we can do the math. So 19, 1, and 5, 95, and 57. Remember, you got a decimal here. So, get 3. 15.3 would be your answer. Now, after practicing some decimal problems, we're going to solve equations involving decimals. So to isolate the variable x, we need to take the opposite of positive 3.8 and subtract that to both sides of the equation. Bring down the x. X will be 1.4. Here, you add 0.88, the opposite of negative 0.88. Okay, so here we need to take the difference, and since 0.88 has a greater absolute value, your answer should be positive. Now, this involves using the division property of equality. Divide both sides by 7. So 5.8. And this one, we will need the multiplication property of equality and multiply both sides by 11.5. So you can cancel out 11.5 to isolate the variable y. And now we need to do the math here. 11.5 times 0.4 . Two decimal places, so shift 2 places to the left, 4.6. Telescopes. The W.M. Keck Observatory, located on top of the dormant volcano Mauna Kea in Hawaii, has 2 telescopes. Each telescope has a mirror composed of 36 identical sections. So you can draw a telescope. With all these mirrors that are fitted together. The total area of the mirror is 75.8 square meters. Find the area of each section of the mirror to the nearest tenths of a square meter. Nearest tenths just means the decimal place right after the decimal. Okay, since it told us that the total area is 75.8 square meters, I can let that be one side of the equation. And then I need to first tell my reader what I'm looking for. Let x equal the area of each section of the mirror. So since there's 36 in all, 36 times x would give me the total area. And now I can take that and solve for x. I'll divide by 36 to both sides. Cancel out the 36, and we can do the math. 75.8 divided by 36, we take 2, 72, 38, and this would be 1, 36, 2, 20, and we know 36 can't use 1 anymore, it has to be 0, so we could round 1 to 1 because it wants the answer to the nearest tenths. So our answer will be 2.1 square meter. And that concludes our lesson.